Good day to you watching this video. We are diving straight into a major financial disclosure that Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State just made, and the numbers being mentioned are quite remarkable. The governor has come out to clarify exactly how much money was in Rivers State coffers when the state returned from emergency rule, and what he is saying has caught the attention of many Nigerians. Governor Fubara made this disclosure on Wednesday during the commissioning of the 14.2-kilometer Obodi-Ozuchi Road, a major infrastructure project linking communities in Ahwada East and Ahwada West local government areas. According to the governor, before the period of emergency rule was declared in Rivers State, his administration had set aside over 300 billion naira in the state's coffers. Now, here is where it gets interesting. When the emergency rule ended and he returned to office, the governor said he met approximately 600 billion naira in government accounts. Yes, you heard that correctly, 600 billion naira. This means that during the period of emergency rule, when retired Vice Admiral Ibas served as the sole administrator of Rivers State, the state's financial position actually improved significantly. The money in the coffers doubled from 300 billion to 600 billion naira. This is quite unusual because typically, when we hear about transitions in Nigerian politics, the story is often about empty treasuries and financial difficulties. But in this case, Governor Fubara is essentially saying that the sole administrator left the state in a better financial position than when the emergency rule began. This disclosure is particularly significant because it comes at a time when there have been questions and criticisms about how Rivers State funds are being managed. The Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amaewele, had earlier raised concerns about the deplorable conditions of public schools in the state. During a recent plenary session, the Speaker questioned why basic education facilities had collapsed, despite the fact that the state reportedly has more than 600 billion naira in its coffers. The lawmakers wanted to know why such substantial funds had not been deployed to fix the terrible state of primary and secondary schools across Rivers State. The Speaker described shocking situations where one teacher is teaching two different classes at the same time in the same classroom. He mentioned schools without electricity, without proper toilets, and without security personnel. These are schools located near critical government infrastructure, including the government house itself. The lawmakers, who are loyal to Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, said it was shameful that education facilities had collapsed barely 3 months after the end of emergency rule when there is so much money available. Now, responding to these criticisms, Governor Fubara used the road commissioning event to set the record straight about his administration's financial management. He was very emphatic that his government places premium on transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public resources. The governor assured Rivers State residents that within 6 months, his administration would present clear and verifiable evidence detailing exactly how public funds are being deployed across the state. If you are finding this information valuable and want to stay updated on important news from Rivers State and across Nigeria, please do not forget to hit that like button right now and subscribe to this channel so you never miss updates like this. Governor Fubara explained that some misconceptions about how state funds are being managed stem from his administration's deliberate approach to project execution. Unlike many governments that love big ceremonies and media coverage when starting projects, Fubara said his administration prefers to quietly execute projects and only commission them when they are completed. He does not believe in spending money on elaborate flag-off ceremonies and then spending more money again on commissioning ceremonies. His philosophy is simple: save the money spent on flag-offs and entertain the people when you are ready to show them what you have actually done with their money. The governor pointed to the newly commissioned Obodi-Ozuchi Road as evidence of his administration's commitment to delivering tangible results. Interestingly, he revealed that this project was actually initiated by his predecessor, former Governor Nyesom Wike, as part of political mobilization efforts ahead of the 2023 general elections. The project was assigned to Edison Ehi, who was then Wike's chief of staff and is now a strong Fubara ally. The governor said Ehi delivered decisively on that assignment, which made it necessary not only to complete the road, but to expand its scope beyond the original design. On the education sector concerns raised by the lawmakers, Governor Fubara addressed this during a separate meeting with the Rivers State Council of Traditional Rulers. He promised that the 2026 budget would allocate the largest share to the education sector, and his administration is planning comprehensive reforms. However, he insisted that employment in the education sector, including the anticipated 10,000 job openings that people have been waiting for, would be based strictly on the actual needs of the state and not on political pressure or patronage. The governor acknowledged that the education system was already in decline before he assumed office and that the political crisis in the state had slowed down his interventions. In what many saw as a significant admission, Governor Fubara told the traditional rulers that he only began experiencing peace in governance after President Tinubu lifted the 6-month emergency rule that was imposed on Rivers State in March 2025. Before the emergency rule ended, he said there was hardly any week without one crisis or another in the state. The emergency rule had followed a violent power struggle between Governor Fubara and Minister Nyesom Wike, which led to the emergence of two rival speakers and even the bombing of the State House Assembly. It was truly a chaotic period in Rivers State politics. Governor Fubara maintained very strongly that there is no issue of mismanagement or diversion of public funds under his watch. He said his records in public service speak for him and that every financial record of his administration is intact and available for scrutiny. The governor told Rivers State residents to go and sleep peacefully because they can call on him any day, any time, and the records will be there to show exactly how state funds have been spent. This entire situation reveals the complex political dynamics playing out in Rivers State. On one side, you have Governor Fubara, who is saying the state has substantial funds and these funds are being properly managed and deployed on projects that will benefit the people. On the other side, you have state lawmakers loyal to Wike questioning why certain basic things like school infrastructure remain in terrible condition despite the availability of funds. For ordinary Rivers State residents, what matters most is not the political drama, but whether their children can go to decent schools with proper facilities and qualified teachers. They care about whether the roads in their communities are motorable and whether hospitals have the equipment needed to provide quality healthcare. These are the real measures of good governance that people can see and feel in their daily lives. Make sure you stay subscribed to this channel so you do not miss any updates on this developing story, because there is definitely more to come from Rivers State politics.